श्री परमात्मने नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। श्रीमद् भगवत गीता साधका संजीवनी 5th chapter Karma Yoga Action in Krishna Consciousness. Introduction. Arjuna in the 33rd verse of the 4th chapter heard the glory of the customary method of gaining knowledge, and in the 34th verse by the term Vidhi, he held it as the Lord's order for him to gain knowledge by that method. Thus, he heard the praise of Karma Yoga, that is, the discipline of action, in the 38th verse and the 41st verse. In the 42nd verse, the Lord ordered him to perform his duty of fighting. Thus, having heard the glory of Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga, both, and also his order to gain knowledge and perform his duty, Arjuna could not decide which one of the two disciplines was better. Therefore, in order to get his doubt cleared by Lord Krishna, Arjuna puts the question. Verses 1 to 6. Identity of the disciplines of knowledge and action and glory of the discipline of action. Verse 1. Arjuna uvacha sannyasam karmanam Krishna punaryogam cha shansasi yachreya etyorekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam. Arjuna said, Thou praisest, O Krishna, the renunciation of actions and again their unselfish performance. Tell me for certain which one of the two is decidedly conducive to my good. Comment. Generally, a hearer interprets the orator's word according to his own views. Having seen his kith and kin, Arjuna, out of delusion, thought it proper to abandon his duty of fighting. So, he interpreted the Lord's word according to his view, that he was praising the attainment of self-realization by renouncing actions. Arjuna was especially interested in attaining salvation. So time and again he asked Lord Krishna the way to attain salvation. A keen desire plays an important role in attaining salvation. Even without this passion, a striver having a keen desire for salvation can follow the discipline of action in order to attain his aim of salvation. Arjuna was not totally dispassionate, but he had a keen desire to attain salvation, and so he was a deserving candidate. Now the Lord answers Arjuna's question. Verse 2. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sanyasaha Karma Yogascha Nishresakara Ubhao Tayostu Karma Sanyasat Karma Yogo Vishishyate. The Blessed Lord said, Sannyasa, discipline of knowledge, and Karma Yoga, discipline of action, both lead to salvation. But of the two, Karma Yoga is better than Sankhya Yoga. Comment. According to the principle of the Lord, every person can follow the disciplines of action and knowledge. Renunciation of actions, according to his caste, order of life, and sect, etc. Because his principle is not for the people of any particular caste, order of life, or sect, etc. In the Sankhya discipline, there is prominence of discrimination. This discipline can't be successful without a keen dispassion with discrimination. While following the discipline, a striver has an eye only on God, without accepting the independent existence of the world. Renunciation is difficult to attain without Karma Yoga, and a Karma Yogi quickly attains to the Absolute. It means that in the Sankhya Yoga, discipline of knowledge, there is need of Karma Yoga, while in Karma Yoga, there is no need of Sankhya Yoga. Thus, out of the two which lead to salvation, the path of action has been declared to be superior by the Lord. The sense of doership and the desire to reap the fruit of actions are the bondages. A Sankhya Yogi and a Karma Yogi both have to renounce their affinity for the world. A Sankhya Yogi roots out the sense of doership through dispassion and discrimination, while a Karma Yogi roots it out by performing actions for the welfare of others without any desire for the fruit of actions. Thus, the former is liberated by renouncing the sense of doership, while the latter is liberated by renouncing the desire to reap the fruit of actions. Now, the Lord in the next verse explains why Karma Yoga is better of the two. Verse 3. Geha sa nitya sannyasi yo na dveshti na kankakshti निर्द्वन्द्वो हि महाबाहो सुखम बंधात pramuchyate. He who neither hates nor desires should be known as a sannyasi, renouncer. For free from dualities, pairs of opposites, he is released easily from bondage. O mighty armed Arjuna. Comment. A karma yogi does not hate any being, object, circumstance, or principle, etc., but he renders selfless service to everyone. If he has the least hatred for anyone, he can't follow the discipline of action scrupulously. He should give priority in rendering service to the person to whom he bears even a little malice. A vital fact. For a karma yogi, it is more significant to renounce evil rather than to do good for the welfare of others. The actions and objects are limited, and therefore only limited service can be rendered with limited resources. But when a man renounces evil, his unlimited inward feeling is prominent. Secondly, by doing good to others, a person cultivates the notion of pride, which is the root of the demoniac traits. Where there is imperfection, there is pride. On the contrary, where there is perfection, pride is out of the question. The pride of the sense of doing good is more disastrous than other evils because it settles in the sense of I-ness. Actions and their fruits disappear, but the pride settled in the sense of I-ness never disappears. Secondly, an evil as an evil can be easily renounced, but when an evil disguises itself as a virtue, it is difficult to renounce it. In the same way as we can easily discard iron hand cuffs, but we find it difficult to discard gold ones because they look like ornaments. When evils are renounced by a man, the good to the entire world is automatically done by him. A person free from evil does good to the entire universe, even while leading a secluded life in the Himalayan cave. In Karma Yoga, it is the doer who is desireless, not the action. Being inert, actions are not desireless or otherwise. All actions are dependent on the doer. The doer being desireless, his actions are called desireless. Those actions without expectation of fruit are called Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga and Nishkama Karma both are synonyms. Karma Yoga is never Sakama, that is with a selfish motive. The desireless doer remains detached from the fruit of action. Therefore, the doer should ever remain desireless. The more selfless he is, the more efficient practice of the discipline is there. On being totally desireless, the Karma Yogi reaches consummation. In the first half of the second verse of this chapter, the Lord declared disciplines of knowledge and action both lead to salvation. The Lord explains the same point in the next two verses. Verse 4. Sankhya yoga prithag balaha pravadanti na panditaha ekam apyasthitaha samyag ubhyorbindate phalam. The ignorant, not the wise, speak of the discipline of knowledge, Sankhya Yoga, and discipline of action, Karma Yoga, as different. He who is well established in one gets the fruit of both. Comment. The wise say that Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga produce the same result, though they may be different as means. The Lord Himself in the third verse of the third chapter declared the twofold path, the path of knowledge and that of action, different as means, but the goal is the same. Verse 5. Yat sankhyaha prapyate sthanam tad yoger api gamyate ekam sankhyam cha yogam cha yaha pashyati sa pashyati. The supreme state which is attained by the Sankhya Yogi is reached by the Karma Yogi also. He who sees that the ways of Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga are one, he sees truly. Comment. A striver through both the disciplines has to renounce his affinity for actions, that is, for active Prakriti nature. A Karma Yogi, in order to distinguish the sentient from the insentient, has to use the discrimination of a Jnana Yogi even during the spiritual practice. Similarly, a Jnana Yogi, Sankhya Yogi, has to adopt the method of Karma Yoga of not performing the action for himself. A Sankhya Yogi's discrimination is to be utilized to distinguish the soul from the body, that is, world. And the actions of a Karma Yogi are performed in order to render service to the world. When the two strivers, one following the path of Sankhya Yoga and the other of Karma Yoga, attain perfection, both of them reach the same destination, that is liberation. An important fact. When a striver attains perfection in any one of the spiritual disciplines, he has neither a desire to live nor fear of death nor desire to acquire anything or do anything. In the second verse of this chapter, the Lord declared the discipline of action to be better than the discipline of knowledge. The Lord emphasizes the same fact in another way in the next verse. Verse 6. Sannyaasastu mahabaho dukham aptam ayogtaha yoga yukto munir brahma nachirena adigachti. But the discipline of knowledge, O mighty armed, is difficult to attain without the discipline of action. The sage who is earnest in Karma Yoga quickly attains to the absolute. Comment. The discipline of action, yoga, is necessary for the success of Sankhya Yoga, the discipline of knowledge, because the latter is difficult to attain without the former, while the former can be practiced without the latter. A Sankhya Yogi's aim is to realize God, but so long as he has attachment, not to talk of God realization, he can't even understand the discipline of knowledge. An easy way to wipe out attachment is to follow the discipline of action. In this discipline, all actions are performed for the welfare of others. By doing so, attachment is naturally wiped out. So, having wiped out attachment through this discipline, the practice of the discipline of knowledge becomes easy. Therefore, the success of the discipline of knowledge is difficult without restoring to the discipline of action. A Karma Yogi, during the performance of every action, whether it is significant or trifling, keeps in mind that he has to perform it without any selfish motive, only for the welfare of others. By thinking so, his attachment is easily renounced. While revealing the glory of the discipline of action, the Lord declares, peace immediately follows the renunciation of the fruit of actions, and such a Karma Yogi is easily set free from bondage. Thus, the discipline of action is easy, quick, and independent means of God realization. Om Tat Sat. All glories to Sri Partha Sarthi, Lord Shri Krishna. All glories to Bhagavad Vani, Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Sri Hari Arpanamastu.